The next tier is might join Nico, and that it might end up at looking for a new home. Welcome back to Discomposed Golf Channel, where today we're trying something new. I'm trying to do a screen record plus a live record to then make a tier list. A tier list similar to what's available on Tiermaker.com. Is it Tiermaker.com? I don't even know. Probably Tiermaker.com. But to use their service, you had to sign in with Twitter. But Twitter's only useful for trolling, so I'm not going to fucking sign in with that account. I mean, like, if you look at their little terms of service, terms and conditions, yeah, that's terrible. Like, I'm not going to let some random website post anything on any accounts of mine. So, I made my own ghetto-ass tier list. And here it is. I made little cutouts for the icons. I got different tiers. I have 100% vital, meaning it's absolutely needed in the bag. Just, and maybe not exactly that exact disc, but like something that fills that slot, performs a certain role. And if it's in the 100% vital, it's because I found it there. Found a disc that does exactly what I want. And I'm super thrilled with it. The does one thing amazing is like, hey, this disc doesn't turn over in the wind. That's one thing amazing, like especially in Corpus where it's windy all the time. Reliably great is the next tier. It's basically just a good, reliable, solid disc, and it's just like it does more things than just the one thing, and it does them all well, and it's pretty awesome. Get a job bum is like something where I'm like I've had it in the bag, and I'm trying to figure out like, is it something that performs something I need, or do I just like it there for sentimental reasons or something like impractical? I'm looking for it to do a certain job, and I haven't quite found that it does that job, and so we have a couple of those. The next tier is might join Nico, and that it might end up at looking for a new home. So basically, there are some discs in my bag where I'm just like, they had a usefulness for a while I was like at some degree of skill, and now maybe they don't quite fit something that I need. And the last tier is rest in peace. As we've had, like, since I first had this idea, I got the discs all set up. It took me a couple weeks to do this, so yeah, rip. So that being said, let's get right into it. First up, we have the Wizard. Oh yeah, I ran out of space, so I basically just stack them however I want, because I can do that. I can do whatever the hell I want. The Wizard does one thing amazing. It's really good. It's like a backhand approach that's solidly straight. Doesn't tend to turn over in the wind unless it's ridiculously windy. This is a good really straight approach disc, and it's good. The problem is the Berg, which we'll get to. Actually, we'll just get to the Berg. The Berg does one thing amazing, but it's reliably great. It doesn't tend to want to go anywhere. It's kind of weird to put the Wizard above the Berg, because the Berg could eventually replace the Wizard, but it's basically, the Berg is also great for forehand upshots, and so the Wizard I probably just wouldn't use for a forehand upshot, because once it gets on that any side, it doesn't tend to want to get out of there. So yeah, these two are filling a very similar slot in my bag. Next up we have the Tui, and this is another, like, does one thing amazing. It's an understable approach. You can throw it flat, let it turn over a little bit, rides that right side, tries to straighten out at the end, and it's so good at that. It's a fantastic disc. This one's in I think it's Cosmic Plastic, which is similar to Champion. I also have one in like Magma, which I think is closer to like the DX type plastic, and it beats in pretty quick. Next up is the Underworld. Underworld is reliably great. It doesn't just do, I mean, it does turn over a lot, but like also downwind, it's kind of a beast. I've thrown some very long straight hyzer flips downwind with this thing that just rode straight. And yeah, so it does more than one thing amazing. I probably should have flipped these up, switched them, but I didn't, so screw it, whatever. The next up is the Voodoo. It's 100% vital. I mean, it's my putter, go-to putter, super reliable in the wind, one of the most reliable things in my bag in that regard. So, gotta have a putter. That said, the Hunter, also 100% vital. It is a longer range putter. I like to use it from about 35 to 50 feet. Sometimes I'll stick with the Voodoo inside of 40, but 40 to 60, it's almost always the Hunter. Unless I'm concerned about wind and I'm just kind of tossing a like half bid layup type shot. The Claymore, actually very recently, rip. I really want to get this back. If it weren't dead, it would just be reliably great. It's like a Buzz, but glidier. It was just so nice for that slot. And unfortunately, I'm going to try and get it back. I already tried. I was going to record my efforts to swim in Waldron Pond. Didn't work out. It was also freezing. Probably a little hypothermia. Whatever. I've got a rake idea that I think can get that back. Deflector is... it's either 100% vital. You know what? In wind, it's 100% vital. And for everything else, it does one thing really amazingly. And that is... acts like a gigantic beef monster and just fades hard. Just throw it forehand, fade hard. Throw it backhand, fade hard. Just super hard. And it won't ride flat for long. It won't do whatever. But in wind especially, it won't turn over, and that's key. I could just, like, any disc that I don't feel like my harp is going to handle the wind well, I'm just like, okay, deflector then. And I throw it exactly how I would have thrown the harp, and it goes, and beautiful. Destiny. The Destiny is interesting. It's somewhere between reliably great and get a job bum. It's a really good, like, long range kind of understable-ish high speed. It's like 14 speed. But it's just sometimes that high speed means that if it's the wrong kind of wind, it doesn't turn over, it doesn't get that long ride. And that is dreadful to deal with. You're like, okay, I'll put it on a little hyzer, and it'll flip up to flat, maybe turn over a bit and ride, and instead it just stays hyzered and goes left, and you're like, whatever. Next up, Orange Destroyer. Actually, unfortunately, rip. Oso Creek got this little guy, and it is a real tragedy. That was my beef monster destroyer. It was like, it filled a slot where, like, if I was in the wind and needed to backhand something kind of longer, the destroyer was it. It would, like, just maybe tiny turnover in a heavy wind, because I don't have that much arm speed. Turn over just a little, always finish left. Forehand in the wind, super key. Fortunately, I traded with Andy, and I got this destroyer, the Heimberg Tour Series destroyer. I literally named this ghetto ass Tiermaker because I made my own tiers. It's just in PowerPoint, and if you guys want the file, let me know in the comments. I can post it on Google or some shit, I don't know, or just email it to you. It doesn't even matter. Destroyer, the new Heimberg fills that spot. Very overstable, just beefy but willing to flex a little bit, but always comes back, and that's a key thing. The Explorer is reliably great. It's very straight, and it finishes a little bit left, and I like that. And so, reliably great. I mean, there's a reason everything is skewed toward the top of my bag. It's because these are the ones, if you look at any of these are ones that have tended to be in my bag for a little while. So, and the fact that they're there, yeah, there's a reason for that. That said, the Iron Samurai 2, Fez 2, because FU for iron. This is going to be so distracting if I don't get this fixed. Anyway, it's lately it's kind of beating in, and it's kind of doing annoying things that I don't like. Primarily getting blown over in the wind and never coming back. That annoys me a lot. So, Iron Samurai 2 might be looking for a new home. Next up, Firebird. Now this is the Color Glow Firebird, and normally this would be right here, 100% vital. There's a slot for a 240 to 270, very overstable, that won't turn over in the wind. And that's been the Firebird slot like throughout my starting to play regularly. The Color Glow Firebird, however, it's starting to get beat in. It's starting to not do what I want it to do, and therefore, unfortunately, it's down in the might be needing a new home. Like I said, that slot is vital, so I will definitely be trying to find something that I feel flies closer to what I think a Firebird should fly. And I've found some champion ones that are, they're so close, but just not quite there. So, moving on. DD3. DD3 is, it used to be reliably great or does one thing amazingly well. And that thing that it did was be a long, lightweight forehand bomb. But it's starting to beat in, and now it's holding that anti-line a little longer, and it's sometimes holding it into the ground, which is terrible, especially in the wind. Downwind, pretty okay. Tends to come out of it, but yeah, into a headwind or into whatever, it used to be still decent, and now it's not. So it's not reliable, and so I'm trying to find a home for it, trying to find a job for it to be a productive member of society. Next up is the harp. Man, I do love the harp. There's another one. The slot is 100% vital. However, the disc itself, this particular harp, is a BT hard. It's been in my bag for about a month, and it's kind of getting beat in. And it's the harp slot, 100% vital. Overstable approach, especially in windy conditions like out here. Absolutely something I need to have in the bag. However, because this BT hard is not doing that, it's kind of riding flat. It's kind of doing weird stuff that doesn't quite fit the harp mold that I'm looking for. So it gets to go, does one thing amazing. Actually, it doesn't even do one thing amazing. It is still reliably great for the most part. So we'll just bump it down one more tier. It's falling from grace. Like two rung bump is like kind of sad for such an important disc. Oh well, sucks to suck. Leopard 3 does one thing amazingly. It's reliably great, and it does one thing amazingly, so it's going to get the higher tier. And that is, it is just such a straight flying fairway. Like, throw it flat without wind, it just turns over maybe a little bit and rides from super flat. My video with Chicken Wing at Ingleside Red, exactly that. Headwind, tiny bit of hyzer, flips up to flat, rides all the way down. Just such a good straight flying disc. I can't recommend it enough. I think there's always a spot in someone's bag for something that just flies straight, like without too much effort. Pro Katana. Pro Katana is, it's interesting. It's sometimes it's amazing, and sometimes it's a liability. And like on a windy day, it'll never come out of the bag. It'll sit there. It's gonna be benched. It's gonna be a what's the word I'm looking for? A bag queen, a backpack queen. I don't know. Something like, mention in the comments if you think of something cool for that. Cheerleader. But it's great downwind sometimes. It's great with some crosswinds sometimes. It's definitely an understable bomber type disc. Tends to fight out, which I do like. That's not like the the Underworld does not tend to fight out. It's like, I'm going right forever, and generally when I plan for that, that's good. But yeah, the Pro Katana, kind of looking for a role. However, the Metal Flake Katana, reliably great. I was kind of surprised. It's super beefy, but it does like to turn over, or it does like to hold like a little bit of an ante on a downwind shot. It just holds it a little bit and comes out, and like honestly, for as stable as it is, when I put it on ante, it's tends to be like a pretty far flying disc, and for whatever reason, the katanas like feel good in my hand, and like I don't know, they're just maybe it's because one of my first discs was a katana, and so I just kind of learned to grip it and learned my hand liked the feel, and I don't know how much of it is in my head and how much of it is just the disc being decent. So Sidewinder for a little while was kind of filling the slot that the Destiny gets used for more now, because it's a little too beefy, and it just doesn't hold the understable. It's a weird one, and you know what, it might be. I'm gonna bump it down from Get a Job Bum, because I really don't throw it that much, because it kind of doesn't do the slot that I want it to be in. Stiletto. There is absolutely a slot in the bag. This is another one of the ones where Stiletto is filling a particular role. That role is be the high-speed beef king, not flippy in the wind ever type disc. That actually will still go somewhere though. Like what is it? The deflector doesn't tend to want to go anywhere, but it's an upshot disc, so that's fine. The Firebird slot, we'll get into this in here in a second. Firebird slot, I was trying to find a disc that filled that role, and I thought I did, but it was too overstable. It was actually like, it didn't get far enough, and so it ended up kind of getting the same role as the Stiletto, but worse almost. And that is the Thrill. The Thrill is, probably looking for a new home. I put it in because I was trying to replace the Color Glow Firebird for a little while, and they both were in there for a little while at the same time. The Thrill is too beefy. It's beefier than the Firebird, and so it ends up going shorter, and then it makes for weird angles when you're trying to ante something, but it still fights out so quick it doesn't hold at all before finally fighting out. Yeah, probably not going to stick around. Next up is the Valkyrie, Star Valkyrie. Dyed myself. Made a poor man's halo type coloration on the outside. Kind of cool. It's reliably great. It's something like I don't throw it enough because it's a nice understable, but it tends to fight back. And if I can hyzer flip it in the wind, like it's solid. So yeah, Valkyrie. I should throw that more. It actually fills the role that the Sidewinder was trying to fill, and that the Destiny was also trying to fill. And so I don't think it goes as far as the Destiny. It doesn't want to hold that ante side as consistently, I guess, and glide out of it, but still pretty good. Last but not least, the Wraith, Champion Wraith. I think it's going to slide into this slot here, the Get a Job Bum. For a little while, it was definitely reliably great. It was a good forehand disc that would, flex a bit, get some good distance, and then fight out. As it's beaten in, it's now kind of filling the role that the DD3 is doing right now. Where is that DD3 anyway? Oh, there it is. Oh yeah, see? Same role, Get a Job Bum. The DD3 is kind of flexing out forehand. I can throw it flat, it flexes, get some distance. Only the DD3 comes out of it, and the Wraith doesn't always. And there's nothing more annoying than flipping, forehanding a disc on the angle that I think it needs to be on, watching it turn over, and then just keep going left and into the ground, and that's infuriating. So, Wraith, it's on the other hand, backhand, it's now turning over and holding more, but it still doesn't want to fight out as much. Sometimes I feel like it wants to fight out less than the Valkyrie, which means that the Valkyrie can do that job. So, yeah, is there anything that I really think could be in a different slot? Probably not. And when you kind of look at it like, the deflector, yeah, like I said, in the wind, it is absolutely 100% vital. It's kind of in between. You know what I'll do? I'll shift this guy over here, because I can do whatever I want with my own tier. And I'll put him in between, because it's like just so good. Also, that's a lot of hands. I just noticed like my hands are all over. whatever, distracted. So yeah, deflector, like in the wind, absolutely 100% vital. With no wind, it's still very useful, very consistent, and that's what's pretty amazing. I like throwing the wizard. I can throw it about 250, but lately trying to throw it with that much power, it's that one. When I first got it, it would just hold flat, and now it's starting to turn over a little. I don't know if I like that, so I'm gonna have to tinker more. The bird, however, if it does turn over, it does want to fight back a little bit. It's a little more stable, so I have to aim a little more right. But the bird is also flickable, like just a little anti-flick, it fights back, and then just hits metal or lands close. So yeah, I'd say this is a good tier thingy. I don't know if I can zoom in at all, whatever. But yeah, there we go. That's my bag currently, and probably look for some changes in this lower region coming up soon. As always, thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you on the course. Welcome back to Disc and Ball's Golf Channel.